Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Lori Hale. The word I'm about to release, I received on June 25th, after Biden delivered his address to the nation. Since then, concerns have been raised about Biden's obvious state of mental decline, leaving Americans to ponder the question, who is actually running the country? Before I continue, just a quick reminder. If you are encouraged by what you hear today, please click on the thumbs up. Also, to stay connected to this channel for future prophetic words and teachings, click the subscribe button on the screen. If you scroll down to the description box below, you'll find links to my social media sites and also to my blog, which is called My Daily Letters, where I put the prophetic words I receive from the Lord. I've also included the link to our companion website entitled My Choice is Life, where you'll discover ways you can join your voice with others in one of the most important battles of our time. So quite often when the Lord speaks to me, He talks directly to specific issues of the day through what He calls prophetic commentary, where He discusses the topic from His perspective and then usually offers words of encouragement, or as with today's word, He issues a directive on how to pray so that His children can engage in more effective warfare against the demonic realm, resulting in the outcome the Lord desires. So in my time with the Lord the other evening, He responded to that question, who is actually running the country? And this is what I heard. The chain of command has indeed been altered, though not officially stated. Even still, is it obvious to all that Biden is not the one standing at America's helm? For surely has it recently been proven that he is incapable of steering the course of this nation. Yet who is actually manning the ship remains unclear, as no one has stepped up to claim ownership of that responsibility. However, though the truth has been exposed, which is that Biden has not been running the show, very few with the authority to have him removed from office seem to be troubled by that news. And as such, will Biden simply be allowed to continue on with his ruse? For even the American people are not rising up to demand his resignation. And so, like a lame duck, does that man Biden sit, for he lacks the wherewithal to actively be involved in the governing of this nation. So though his would-be successor is eager to assume his title, it must be remembered that just as with Biden, she does not hold a rightful claim on the presidency, as both are illegitimate, for surely were they complicit in the theft of the previous presidential election. So while they themselves may not have orchestrated that coup, still did they both willingly participate in its planned execution. Then, like puppets who are under the control of another are these two, for indeed is someone else pulling their strings. Then a vessel adrift should this nation be, for her bridge appears absent a commander, as incompetent is the one standing at the wheel. Of this there can be no denying. Still is America being driven onward, though her destination is not yet fully clear, for indeed is there a villainous hand upon her tiller, one that is attempting to force this nation down an alternate course, where her trajectory more closely aligns with the future they desire. And so should it be clear by now that the role of president is simply a facade. As such, is the one stationed in that office nothing but the front man for that clandestine operation which has been quietly working to undermine this republic. For surely have Biden and the majority of the political sect pledged their allegiance to that insidious network of fiends. Thus is the reason Congress has not made a serious attempt to have Biden removed from office, as it is known by all that he is president only in name, and therefore is simply occupying that position. Yet can the same be said of several others who sat in that same chair. Then it would seem that the American people have been fed a bill of goods, for the power structure of their government has not been functioning as presented, as that insidious network of fiends has co-opted control of many high seats of power all along each of her branches. For to impose their will upon this nation is the goal, and thus has this government been working against its own citizens for quite some time. Yet have most only recently become aware of that fact, and as such is the idea of a shadow government now prevalent amongst the population, for evidence of its existence is not difficult to spot. See, then has America been betrayed by the very people who were entrusted with her governance. For those who swore an oath to protect and serve have gone back on their word, and as such has the welfare of this nation been placed in the hands of the truly wicked. For surely are their entire hearts engulfed by darkness. Yet to stave off any kind of citizens' revolt, a false reality has been created, one which was designed to fool the American people into thinking that they actually have some say in the running of their own country. What hope then is left for America now? For surely has that insidious network of fiends intertwined themselves into every level of her government, even those lower echelons of authority. How then can this people possibly break free from the grip of that lot of degenerates, when the identities of most of those involved are intentionally hidden in obscurity, eclipsed by the layers upon layers of bureaucracy? But what man retains the ability to fully dismantle that entire network and fully sever its influence over America? In my estimation, there exists not a single one, and thus shall it take an act of divine intervention to restore back to this people the full right of self-governance. For surely have those fiends sought to steal this freedom away. Restitution, then, can only be known through the working of my hand, for I alone possess the power to dismantle each element of that network, so that it is no longer a threat to this republic. As I continued to press in, I received a vision. Barack Obama was sitting at what looked like the Resolute desk, but he wasn't in the Oval Office. He appeared to be located underneath the White House in a room that resembled an underground bunker. In one hand, he held a bunch of cords that were tied together in a knot. At the opposite end of each cord, I saw dangling the many different federal agencies. The Lord reminded me of a vision I had in 2016 after Trump's victory had been announced. I saw Barack Obama, and I heard, he will continue to be the president. Now, obviously, the Lord was speaking to the level of influence Obama still holds over our government. And then he continued. Then, like a venomous snake, must the head first be cut off of that insidious network of fiends, so that their lines begin to unravel, and thus cause that entire covert structure to descend into chaos. Thus must that centralized figure which sits at the top of that network be lopped off, for then shall he no longer hold any sway over those agencies which make up the federal government. For indeed, has that man Barack been behind the scenes, acting as if he's the president of a de facto government, one that is bent upon destroying this republic and then rebuilding her according to a more globalized schematic. Then the darkness which that man Barack willfully ushered in must not be left unattended. For though he is no longer the sitting president, still has he refused to vacate that seat. And as such, is he still working to advance the same demonically driven agenda that he had during his days behind the resolute desk. Indeed, then, must that viperous spirit to which that man Barak has partnered be addressed, for it has slithered into every corner of the government. Let those then who are loyal to my kingdom alone launch into battle against that darkness, for it is time to restore the right of self-governance back into the hands of this people, so that America remains a free nation for many generations to come. My children, then, must not shy away from this battle, but should immediately take to arms and pray that I would move swiftly to sever the hold that viperous snake has upon their nation. So then ask that I would fully move against that insidious network of fiends, so that it is completely dismantled, and that those operatives lurking in the shadows are exposed and driven out for good. For indeed, have I come in this hour to tear down that demonic stronghold, so that America is freed from its oppressive chains, and thus revive the hope of tomorrow in the hearts of her people. Thanks again for joining me today.